the Rambler Network.
Step right up, ladies and gents, a show for the ages, a spectacle of silent silver. Gather around, folks, don't be shy. A real humdinger of a picture awaits. Thrills, chills, and plenty of laughs. From the golden days of flickering reels and grand Nickelodeons comes a program most extraordinary. A real corker of a show, a top-notch talkie about a world with no talk at all. It's Casablanca Silent Treatment. We begin this season at the end. By 1931, Hollywood had moved on from silent films. However, Charlie Chaplin had to disagree. His film, City Lights, proved that silence still had stories left to tell. The film wasn't entirely silent, it had synchronized sound, but it still used intertitles for dialogue. In fact, the film opens with a scene mocking the talkies of the day. Early microphones weren't that great yet, so
they tended to sound more like this.
So yeah, the silence was an intentional choice, not a limitation of the technology. The story of the movie involves Chaplin's tramp character meeting a blind flower girl, played by Virginia Cherril, and falling in love with her. She would sell flowers on the street, and she actually confused him for a rich person due to a misunderstanding, which happens a lot in this movie. Misunderstandings are like a regularly occurring occurrence in this movie. He also befriends a drunken millionaire played by Harry Myers. So the millionaire is about to take his own life, and Chaplin comes along and gets him to stop, and he's like, "My friend, I made a new friend, I've got a friend." And so he takes him to his house, and they hang out. But here's the thing, there's like kind of a running gag in this movie. The millionaire only remembers him when he's drunk. In the morning, he wakes up fully sober, and he's like, "Who is this guy? Kick him out." And his butler kicks him out. And that happens regularly throughout the movie. In fact, at one point, while he's drunk, he gives him his car. And then later, he doesn't even remember. And he's like, you stole my car." This film also features one of the funniest sequences I've ever seen. And it doesn't include any dialogue at all. Not even intertitles. It is the boxing scene. And I think it's all one take, like all one shot. I don't remember it cutting away, but yeah, you've got, I think it's on YouTube. Like, if you don't want to watch the whole film, at least watch this scene, the boxing scene. And if you're probably thinking, how can a boxing scene be funny? How could it be one of the funniest scenes in cinematic history? Check it out. But yeah, like the comedy's kind of built like a dance in that scene. I'll just say that. I will say, though, there is an important historical note. There is a black boxer portrayed respectfully by Victor Alexander. He's not a stereotype or a caricature, which was very common in the day. He's just treated as a competent, equal human. So, like, this is kind of an example of how comedy doesn't really need words to be funny. Or in the case of Victor Alexander, progressive. Chaplin also was known for composing the score himself. Like, he would do that regularly. The music kind of functions as like the emotional dialogue. You don't need actual words, dialogues, intertitles in this movie. It is in there, but you kind of don't need them because the music functions as emotional dialogue. The themes of the music kind of replace spoken language. That's basically what it feels like. I don't want to spoil the ending because I want everyone to watch it. It's not that long of a movie, but the ending is it's surprisingly emotional, especially when you think Charlie Chaplin. You think, oh, this guy's funny. But then you remember, like, the kid exists, and it's, like, one of the saddest movies ever. But, yeah, like, I'm not going to spoil what happens. I'm just going to say that there's a hand, there's a look, a moment of recognition. And it is one of the most powerful endings in film history. And dialogue would have completely ruined it. So, while Hollywood had essentially moved on from silent films, Chaplin used this film to prove that the medium had still kind of evolved past where it had been. There was still things you could do with silent films, even though Hollywood had moved on. But yeah, this wasn't his last movie, and it also wasn't his last silent film, but I think it's one of the best ones that emphasize kind of the point. I think especially like him opening it, mocking talkies, and like the emotional storytelling that he does with limited dialogue, even with the intertitles. There's still intertitles, but there's a limited number of it. You get the whole story with minimal words, and I think that's amazing. And the fact that you can even do that, well, that he could do that. Modern movies, if they were, I hope they never remake this, but if they were to remake this movie and like completely modernize it, make it just like a regular modern movie, it would be exposition heavy. And yeah, like watching Chaplin growing up, like it kind of showed me that comedy could be silent. Like silence can be funny. And sometimes like having no reaction to a situation and just reacting with like a facial expression or a movement is sometimes funnier than whelp, or something like that. But anyway, this is what I wanted to start the season with. I'm gonna start it at the end, and I'm not gonna say what the next episode is, but I will say if this was kind of the teaser, well, the next episode's more of the introduction. I have the teaser, then I have the next episode's more of an intro, talking about silent films in general. And then episode 3 will actually be getting into the season. It'll make more sense once you see what I'm actually doing. I'm excited for this season. It's different than what I've done in the past, and I'm excited for it. And cut! Step right up, folks. Don't let the show end here. If you enjoyed tonight's picture, there's plenty more waiting just beyond the curtain. Follow the show on Instagram at Rambler Network. And for even more stories that spark curiosity, step right this way to RamblerNetwork.com, your one-stop destination for all things Rambler Network. So don't be a stranger and miss the next attraction, because the show is always just getting started.
The Rambler Network.